Greetings, Interworld. We're back. I'm David with InvestComics.
I'm Jared from Famous Faces.
And we, sadly, still don't have a name. This is becoming quite the long and drawn-out joke at this point.
It's been a name show.
So, let's get to why you're all here. First off, we're going to start with the 800-pound gorilla in the room, last year's biggest game, and it's Modern Warfare 3. It's Modern Warfare. If you played Call of Duty, you know what you're getting into. If you haven't, it's a first-person, it's a military shooter, just like Battlefield 3 was, but Battlefield tends to be more the thinking man shooter. This is more the Twitch reaction. What's the word I'm looking for?
I think this is more of a tactical game than Battlefield personally, but at least that's just how I play it. But overall, pretty solid game. It is gorgeous. It's definitely going new places with the story mode. It's basically the next World War, and it's happening in America, so the kind of home front-ish, just not it's not looking at the conflict from the bottom like guerrilla style fighting. You know, your soldiers, of course.
The game starts off by dropping you off into a full-scale occupation of New York, so you literally hit the ground running. The long and short way to describe it is this is a Michael Bay film in video game form, which actually turns out to be a good thing in this case.
But more substance.
True. The pacing is really good. It's always going to be at a fever pitch, but at the same time it does have those little lulls where you're getting into level, and then there are a couple slower areas where you're sneaking around trying to be stealthy and whatnot, and there's just a really good variety of stuff. And just within the single player, there's a section where you're playing as the Russian Secret Service protecting the Russian president, and the plane gets hijacked, and at halfway through that mission, you're being tossed around in the plane as it's careening through the skies and flipping and falling, and you're doing weightless gunfights inside of the plane, and it's the ridiculousness in a good way.
The multiplayer, for the most part, feels pretty similar to the rest of the series. The gameplay itself hasn't changed. They've reworked the class system, though. They've reworked it pretty heavily, actually, and they've added some new gameplay modes, one of which is my favorite, now my favorite mode. It's called Kill Confirm, where every time you kill someone, they drop their dog tags, and you have to get their dog tags to gain more points. Or if you see someone on your team drop, you can snatch up their tags to gain points for your side and deny them the kill. So it's a really good tactical game, and it really forces people to stick together and at least move around in pairs, if not squads.
Yeah, the big overhaul when it came to the online, aside from that new mode and one or two other modes I want to say they added in there, but I can't think of right now. They completely revamped the class system. It's still broken down into, was it 4?
I think it's 5.
4, possibly 5. Assault, it's still basically the run-in, guns blazing, shoot everything in between. So that's still going to function as your standard shooter-type class. One of their new ones is the support class, which that's more for the team player, maybe someone who isn't as kill streak heavily focused. The big thing with that one is your kill count, well, not necessarily kill count, but your building your streak towards your bonuses, that doesn't reset upon death. So it's all about adding to the team and how much you're going to contribute versus, okay, I shoot, oh, somebody finally got me. No, you can do things like capturing the flags, you can defend positions. It's more about the tactical objectives and the support of the team. And even the streaks are geared that way, where it's more of spy drones and support and marking for your team. And then the other really major overhaul as far as the classes go is their specialist class. Now this one, it's kind of a hybrid of your standard assault type, it is very kill streak heavy focused, but the way it works is the higher your kill streak goes, the more perks you unlock for your character to use. So it's a constantly building. It's like, okay, kill, I got a new perk, kill, another perk, kill, until, you're slowly becoming a bit of a juggernaut as far as with all these little extras and abilities that you're unlocking. And then after that, you have your standard, straightforward sniper, which, hey, you're a sniper. Sniping's good. Sniping's fun. Anything?
That's it for me.
We like it.
It was a good game.
Moving on. This is probably one of my favorite games that came out this previous year. It's Saints Row the Third. Always been a big fan of the franchise. They were the first next-gen Sandbox game because, what was it? It was about, I want to say, close to a year before Grand Theft Auto came out, whereas this one was already out.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So they were the first ones to dip their toes in, and they kind of got a feel for it. Now, I will say, on the first one, they were struggling to kind of, get their bearings in their own little place in the world. They were just basically trying to be Grand Theft Auto at that point. But as the second and third installments came, they really did get a little niche for themselves, which is over-the-top insanity and fun. And they do not disappoint with this game.
I have very mixed feelings on the game myself. As Dave says, it is very over the top, and to me, it's too over the top. I know it's supposed to be fun and very tongue in cheek, but to me, it's so ridiculous. It's bordering absurdity, where it's just ridiculous
Implausible.
Instead of fun. Yes, and it's
half the fun.
It's not the type of game I prefer, so I'm a little jaded against it just from preference. But other than that, graphically it's good, sounds good, voice acting is actually really good, controls are tight, so it's a well-functioning game, in my opinion. Just story did nothing for me.
Yeah, the story did get a little bit away from itself. It's not as tight as it was in the previous installments. It's the same basic thing where you're playing as the Saints, which is a street gang that came up at this point after the end of the second game. They are huge media moguls. They're all over the place. They're household names. So much so that...
gang members as celebrities is a very hard concept to get over.
Yeah. That an international crime organization actually wants to muscle in on their territory and take actually a very large chunk of their action, and the Saints, being the Saints, aren't having it. The game starts off with you robbing a bank in Stillwater like it's just another day of the week, to the point where the criminal organization that we were talking about actually paid the cops to not look the other way this time. So you're actually taken into custody and brought aboard this organization's plane called the Syndicate. And it gets to the point where you end up breaking free and are in a major shootout in a crashing plane in midair.
That was interesting.
So much fun.
Yeah.
To the point where it goes outside, you're shooting guys in free fall while trying to get your hands on a parachute and saving another member of the gang. And you do this a couple times where there's actually another section where you end up going back in through the plane, through the front cockpit, and shooting through the entire thing again.
That's kind of where it lost me. But one thing I did have a bit of fun with right before that part was the character creation. It was actually very...
It's always had a very robust character creator. This one is really insane.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun with the character creation. I made a completely ridiculous, vampire-looking character just because I could, and that was the most fun I had with the game, sadly.
But yeah, it's just, I love it. I've always been a fan of this franchise, and as long as they keep up this, I personally will always like it. Jared will probably play them, but he probably won't enjoy them.
So, something also that probably puts me off against the game, this is the first one I played, so I wasn't, I kind of knew what to
You were
expect.
eased into it.
Yeah, I kind of knew what to expect just because of the previews and the articles I'd read on it prior to playing, but actually experiencing it was kind of another thing entirely, so it was alright.
Yeah. As I said, I love this franchise. I always will, but he does have a valid point. If you're going to play it, probably ease into it with at least the second one first, because that's where it starts. As I said, it really starts picking up its stride and getting its own place. Where that's where they start introducing the over the top crazy. But it's at a level where if it's something that you may find a little off-putting, like Jared, it'll help ease you into it. And at that point, it's just like, okay, I can kind of deal with this. Let's ratchet up the crazy. Then go straight to number 3. All right, and now moving on to a bit of a throwback as far as gameplay goes. We have from the wonderful people at Ubisoft, we have Rayman Origins. This is old school, hard as nails. It's a good thing they don't have the live system in this platforming like the original Mario games, to the point where it's literally one hit and you're dead unless you have their little heart, which is their extra hit thing. And
for the first couple levels, at least, are fairly easy to come by. But it is, as he's saying, a very old school style throwback to classic platform gaming, and it does it very well, as Rayman has generally done over its several iterations. One cool thing that I liked about this, I haven't played since the original Rayman, but the variety of characters that you can play as and swap out and run through the levels as was pretty awesome.
yeah, the really great thing about this is that they actually have a 4-player co-op throughout the game, so you can play as Rayman, Globix, or two of these other little characters that inhabit the world. And then just as you progress through the story and you get the looms, which are basically the currency you use to unlock extra stuff and levels and whatnot, you'll unlock extra skins and whatnot. And as you said, there is a really good variety of just crazy different variations and characters that you can unlock and use. My only sort of gripe about this is the fact that it is local multiplayer only. I would have liked to have seen an online version of that, because how often are you going to have your friends over in one place at one time? More often than not, just the way the world is, you want that online option so you can just have the most.
Yeah, really, with the state of gaming now, not having an online addition to your multiplayer seems kind of a step backwards instead of staying current.
Now, that being said, it's sort of it's really more of a minor gripe than anything. It really does not detract from the game or the gameplay. It just would have been a nice little thing to see. And the one of the really high points about the game is that they actually went back to a hand-drawn animation style in this, and the game is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, everything looks really, really good in this.
It's a little odd seeing some of them because it's distinctly European in some of the things you'll see, and just some of the palette choices and just the way they draw a couple of the characters. But I just absolutely just stunning, gorgeous game. I really can't say enough about it.
Yeah, it was, as you said, it's a lot of fun. This is actually very highly recommended. It does take at first it's a little bit tedious, but as you play through, you do unlock more special abilities and stuff, so that helps add to the gameplay. But give it a little bit, just get through the first world at least before you feel bogged down by the tedium of it. Because after that, it does pick up a lot more.
Okay. Again, we like it. Go out, buy it, play it, love it. All right. And to close out our show this time around, for our little throwback here, we're going back to not so much an oldie, but within the last, what was it, two years ago? 1 year ago?
2.5, I think, something like that.
But a really goodie, Borderlands.
Borderlands is a fantastic multiplayer game. It is really built around the concept of hopping online, getting together with a party of 3 other people, and burning through levels and basically blowing shit up. The class system is pretty interesting. You have your hunter,
Soldier,
the siren,
and Brick.
Yeah. Brick is heavy on defense.
He's basically a berserker class to the point where his special ability is he throws away his weapons and he starts punching things until they go splat.
Yeah. Tough guy.
Yeah,
I
underarms bazookas.
I tend to play as the hunter myself. He's
Very popular character.
very stealthy. Has his melee weapon is a big ass knife that's really fun to get up close with.
Special is the bird, right?
Yes, he has a bird companion that he can send out to attack, much like a falconer would, and he's a pretty good sniper.
Or the equivalent of a falcon on this strange world of Pandora. Really,
And,
what is it? Siren.
She's a psychic heavy
Stealthy.
character.
She can actually turn invisible for her special ability and just kind of go in and do nasty stuff without being seen. And Roland, the soldier class, it's kind of a hybrid defense offensive for his special ability. He throws out this energy shield with a gun turret.
Yep.
So fun little class there, and it's as he was saying, it's multiplayer, first-person shooter with a lot of RPG elements because there is actually character building, and as you go, you're getting experience and leveling up and gaining new abilities and defenses and modding with your HP and the characters' abilities and what they can actually do. My only complaint about this was the way that they handled the mission system, where if you were playing with other people online and you all weren't on the same mission, or they had done that mission, or they hadn't gotten to that mission yet, it's not going to properly register for the people who aren't able to do that, which I sincerely hope they do fix that issue in the next game that they are working on. But ultimately, I really do love this. They did 4 really good, massive expansions on this. Well, 3.5, because the Mad Moxies was basically just a gladiatorial arena thing. And it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was just kind of there. All the other stuff was really good. Story expansive. You had the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned, then Mad Moxies, as we mentioned earlier. What was the third one? Secret Armory of General Knox.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which was the most interesting one, was Claptrap's New Robot Revolution, which they have a little robot mascot with 1 wheel and 1 eye called Claptraps in this game. And at some point it turns out they were like super stealthy, like space ninja assassins, and they go ballistic and try and take over the planet, and then they resurrect enemies as Claptrap versions of themselves. It's crazy in a good way. It's one of those things where I like it when they do just nuts stuff like this.
Yeah. Despite the fact that it's built around co-op, you can play it solo. And another big draw to this is the amount of weaponry in this game is insane.
There are many guns.
There are, as the box states, bazillions of guns. Every time you pick up a gun, it's randomly built by a generator built within the system of the game, and it's...
Yeah, they didn't build the guns. They just installed the system, and then the system itself spits out the guns.
Yeah,
so
just randomly.
the creators were like, they really didn't know what they were getting into. They just kind of had an idea of it, and the system went nuts.
Yeah, but this is an awesome game. It's one of my favorites from the last few years.
Who doesn't want an acid shooting gun?
Yeah, highly, highly recommended.
And yes, and as he said, we love it. We recommend it. Go out, get all the content, enjoy, and we can't wait to play the second one.
Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Yay.